Well, Texas seems to be really upset about just about everything these days. And I got to be honest, the latest issue that they have makes me think Texas is not ready for the world of the SEC. Welcome into the channel. I am John Kurtz. Here on this channel, talk college football, college basketball, and conference realignment, all from a Big 12 angle. Please consider subscribing if you have not. Live shows Wednesdays and Sundays. They are a blast. Make sure you get subscribed and click the bell so you know when it is that I am going live for those shows. Please like the video, leave a comment. You can support the channel on Venmo at John-Kurtz-4. So, Texas, rightfully so, has been a little upset about his place in the college football playoff rankings. I completely get it. I'm with Texas on that, actually. I think they should absolutely be in front of Ohio State and potentially Oregon as well. So the Horns might need to win and get a little bit of help in this Saturday's Big 12 championship game to get the victory, or to get into the playoff rather. But that is not why we are here. That is not why I am here. I am here to talk about some other things that Texas seemingly is very upset about, one of which is how they have been treated by their friends in Lubbock. Yes, the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Now, Texas did not treat Texas Tech very well the other night, beating them by 50 in Austin, which, hey, Texas deserves a lot of credit for doing that. On the field, they have been much different than the previous 14 editions of the Longhorns that have in no way been able to handle business the way that this Texas Longhorns squad has. But I'm not so worried about Texas on the football field when they go to the SEC, because it seems like they are in as good a position to go to the SEC as they have been at any point in the last decade and a half. They seem to have figured a lot of that out with Sark. And frankly, I'd probably rather be in Texas's position right now than I would Oklahoma's when it comes to on the field in the SEC. But off the field, this is where I think things could get a little dicey. Texas is no longer going to be number one in the boardroom when they stroll into SEC meetings. In that boardroom, you're talking fourth at best, man. Bama, Georgia, LSU. You could make a case for some others as well, and Texas is going to be the new guy. I'm sure the SEC powers that be are not going to want to be pushed around by Texas. But yeah, Texas exudes all this arrogance that comes with being number one in the boardroom for as long as they have been, and it has been a problem for the Big 12. But Texas, of course, gets a little pushback on their way out the door, headed to a new conference, and they're not real happy about it. This comes from the Austin American-Statesman. It is Kirk Bohls, guy I do respect, does a great job for the Austin American-Statesman, but he wrote in his 9 Things column about the future of the Texas-Texas Tech rivalry, and here's what it says. It says, Texas won't see Texas Tech for a while. Goodbye, Tech. Texas's total domination of Texas Tech on Friday represented a huge hurdle cleared by Steve Sarkisian, but it also likely signaled the end of the Longhorns-Red Raiders rivalry. Chris Del Conte, the athletic director, said, quote, "It's too early to tell. It's a long ways away. There's always going to be an appetite to play other Texas schools, but we need to know formats in the SEC first across all sports." With Texas's move to the SEC, the Longhorns may not play any Big 12 team in the future aside from potential bowl games or NCAA basketball tournaments. And hey, I understand it. If we're stopping the story there, I get it. Whether that's a cover or not, that's a rational explanation from CDC. I get it. You need to see what life is going to be like in the SEC. Need to see how scheduling is going to work, how comfortable you feel with that schedule, and whether or not an opponent the caliber of Texas Tech will fit in what it is that you're trying to do. No harm, no foul as far as that goes. And it's hard to work out those rivalries even if you really want them to. If it's going to become another non-conference game after you've moved on to another league. And again, I don't fault Texas for going to the SEC in general. I get it. I understand the business decisions being made, and if you want to say, hey, the Texas Tech thing, it's a business decision, we don't know if we could fit that into our schedule and how that's going to work with the SEC. It's just not a priority for us anymore. All of that, I'm fine with. And I also understand Texas Tech fans kind of throwing the middle finger up at that point, but I'm fine with Texas having that be the basis of their decision-making. But it starts to get more concerning beyond that. It says Texas may not play at Tech either. That's due in large part to the unseemly welcome home for former Tech basketball coach Chris Beard when angry Tech students gathered in front of the Longhorns team bus. You cannot begin to understand the harsh reaction that drew from the Texas administration, which was furious over the lack of security and potential for even worse craziness. Okay, there's more, but I'm going to stop there for just a moment. Now, that was kind of a surreal scene. If you remember the video from outside of the arena when Texas first arrived. I believe it was the night before the actual game. And there were fans crowded around there, snarling and hissing. And it was pretty intense. It was definitely pretty intense. That's also college athletics, man. Like that. Have we paid attention to what's going on in the SEC? Like Bobby Petrino just got hired back at Arkansas. Hugh Freeze got a job there with Auburn. Like they do not care. Bo Wallace, former Ole Miss quarterback, was literally threatening to fight a coffee shop by giving out his location at the Egg Bowl on Twitter just the other day. There's not much messing around there, man. You've got the Toomer's Corner incident. That happens all the time. Stuff like this is happening all the time in the SEC. And to be so outraged over it and incensed that you're going to refuse to play somebody about it and seemingly just be so bothered by it, this is just a word of advice, Texas. I fear for you in the SEC. I feel like you're going to get eaten alive. I feel like you're just a very timid child that is about to go into a group of the cool kids and you're going to get eaten alive, man. That's the kind of vibe that I get off of this if you're going to be that upset and worried about it. And the Chris Beard thing, I would also just add, can we understand Tech fans being that upset and cut them a little bit of slack, man? I mean, for all that Chris Beard did at Texas Tech, there's really like one place you can leave for them to be acting like that and have that reaction, and it is the place that you went, to the University of Texas. Prime rival, somebody that's leaving the conference, leaving them high and dry. Of course you were going to get that vitriol. You would get that vitriol a lot of places. I wouldn't put that evil just on Texas Tech fans. They probably deserve to be cut a little bit of slack in that situation. All right, let's continue on here. Storming the field in Lubbock after last year's overtime win over Texas also stirred the emotional pot. I wish the rivalry would continue, at least in the non-football sports, but one Texas school official told me, quote, "It will be a long while before Texas sends its teams to Lubbock. The waters have been poisoned, and it will take a long healing period before the two sides will meet athletically again." Again, there are a lot of reasons why this maybe wouldn't or shouldn't happen. But the fact that Texas is acting so sanctimonious and pearl clutching about a field rushing where there is, yes, a contact between a student and a player, which again we see happen all the time, or the Chris Beard scene, because Chris Beard literally did something fairly you don't see that situation happening often, and we've never seen it happening often where you go leave to join the dark side and take over the Death Star while the Death Star is leaving you behind to rot and lie in waste, and all the things that we saw from Texas fans, administration, the attitude that they had on their way out the door, this elitist attitude, we don't care about you, we're leaving you for dead, nobody dancing on the grave of the Big 12. Like, that's the other part that, Texas brings this on itself, and they have done that for years and years and years, and thinking that there would be no harsh reaction like this, or that there shouldn't be, or that this is just an outrage. I'm sorry. Go to hell with that. Get out of here. I can't. I gotta stick up for Texas Tech a little bit, and I just can't wait for the day when Texas gets into that boardroom for the first time in the SEC and realizes, okay, we're not going to be able to push anybody around here. Texas has been complaining about the horns down thing being thrown at them for a long time. Have fun with that in the SEC. You're going to get a whole new crop of people who are going to be very excited to throw the horns down at you. I have fun at LSU, playing a night game at LSU. Good luck with that and what the reaction is that you may get from fans there. I'm just telling you, Texas, word of the wise, word of advice. I'm not sure how you're going to fare off the field with SEC fans and everything that comes along with being in the big leagues down there if you are worried about little old Texas Tech and how little old Texas Tech has been treating you here. I would even throw in, one of the things I've seen a lot of consternation about here is Texas media has been riled up about the all Big 12 volleyball selections, thinking that somebody's out to get you. We've seen it with the all Big 12 football stuff too, because Mike Gundy got Big 12 Coach of the Year over Steve Sarkisian. And while Sarkisian would have been a perfectly fine choice, I think there's a pretty even argument on both sides there for what Gundy did and what Sark did. And any notion that this is some kind of underhanded shot at Texas. Texas won 4 of the 10 individual awards in the conference this year, and yet you still have this, it's just the Big 12 out to get us. Nobody going to get it. Of course, Sark doesn't get it. No one's. 4 of your players won individual awards. Like, easily more than anybody else. Nobody is out to get you here. You thought there was going to be a Brett Yormark conspiracy for the game against Texas Tech because of his comments earlier. You won by 50. Like, just chill. A bit of humility would go a long way, but you know that that is something in very short supply on the 40 acres. So anyway, if Texas and Texas Tech don't play for a while, that's fine. Maybe it is for the best. Everything will be okay. I'm not overly concerned about that, but the attitude and the rationale and the reasoning being shown here on the way out the door by Texas is just a little bit nauseating to me and very emblematic of the attitude that everybody in this conference has had to deal with for, well, ever since 1996. And I suppose a couple of years before that, 1994, when the league really, truly formed. Anyway, adios, Texas. We'll see you later. Thank you for watching. Make sure that you get subscribed, like the video, leave a comment, even if you're a Texas fan and you hate me, tell me all about it. Tell me all about it, my friend, in the comments. Let me know every last little word, because it all helps me with the YouTube algorithm. John-Kurtz-4 on Venmo if you want to support the channel that way as well. Talk to you later. Take care. I will see you soon.